Hello and welcome to the meeting. I've missed you all. I feel like I haven't talked to you guys in such a long time because I've been off, and then we canceled that one meeting because everything was going haywire, and I hope you're all doing well. So we'll start out with some kudos here. This one is Brandon doing a nice, oh, somebody hung up on me already. Okay. Nice cutout over here, and then I like this breakout box here over some of this dead space on the photo, just to give a little bit of the score too. There's a lot of, Brandon does a nice job with these breakout boxes. This one doesn't exist. Okay. This is Cole, taking some sports page. Nice work with the check marks. It's also a good example of some of that typography stuff that we talked about in the last class. This one is Megan D. It's a nice little box to go into this. This, even though it's a black and white page, still very effective. Here's Brandon again. This one is Amy. This nice photo of kind of a reflection up here. Nice job of just a big full page that was a photo.
Must have been a high quality photo.
Yeah, it must have been really high res to be able to do that. And it looked really nice in print too. So, and then here we've got, I think Addie, yep, Addie. Nice work with the barber pole in there. Adds a little pop of color. It's nice. Then pumpkin cookies. This doesn't. Oh, it says warm cozy page that Cindy made that couldn't print because they linked the wrong Lost Italian. Okay, so Cindy, this didn't actually print, but it looks really nice. Makes me hungry for pumpkin cookies. All right. I just have one kind of a clarification on something, and then Carol's going to go over some stuff that she's added to our templates to make our lives much, much easier, as she specializes in. Okay, I think I turned my screen sharing off here. At our meeting today with the heads of some of the different departments within our IMOP, we talked about obits, because we've had some confusion lately about obits and what we can do with them and what we can't do with them. So I just want to make everything, I hope, really clear to you guys, and let me know if you have questions. Obits can be rearranged on the page. So once production places them on the page, you can rearrange them. You know, some papers prefer their obits to line up with the top of the page, and some prefer them the bottom of the page. Rearrange them on the page to fit, you know, what you need for your design and what the editors prefer, but do not move them to another page unless there's overflow, and there are so many obits that they do not fit on one page. Are there any questions on that part of it? Okay. Even if an editor asks you to move them, because we had an issue recently where an editor asked us to move the obits to a different page, and they should not have done that because it messed stuff up, and then the obits ended up printing twice in that paper. And even if they ask you to move the obits to a different page, tell them we cannot do that. So,
Who would decide on altering it, whether or not?
Paid obits we cannot alter. So if paid obit is 2 columns, it stays 2 columns. If it's 1 column, it stays 1 column. Because those are paid ads, and the people who are paying for them have signed off on them appearing exactly as they appear when they're placed on our page. So we should not be touching them. But the free notices, so the ones that are not in the box, we can change those to make them into 2-column obits. if that's what works better, so you can square off the design and fit them on the page a little bit easier. And to do that, you would strip the name and the dates under the name across the top of the obit, sort of like you would a headline. So it'll be Joe Schmo, you know, date of birth to date of death, and then everything else under it would be 2 columns. Does that make sense?
Hey, this is Addie and Toulouse. Can I just say something about the 2-column, making a 1-column a 2-column obit? Is the text gets stretched way out because they've got a bunch of returns in them, so we have to be really careful that we clean all that up, and it can be really difficult.
Yeah. If you actually just change it to 2 columns, then the forced returns should still fit and it should work fine. It sometimes
if you
does,
change-
sometimes
Two
Yeah,
columns,
yeah.
2 columns with a gutter in between.
Yeah, sometimes the gutter comes in at a different size than it ought to, so if you fix the gutter, usually it should look okay, but yes, Addie's right, absolutely be paying attention if you do that, to make sure that it's not making anything look really weird or stretched, or one of those things where, like, the word "the" takes up a whole line and is really stretched, because, yeah, the way those are formatted, they're all forced returns in there for each line break, it's not a regular paragraph, so when you change them, they're gonna potentially get messed up.
And sometimes they throw in hyphens as well to make something break the way
Yep.
they want it to, so we have to watch for those too.
Yes, exactly. And again, this is just with those free notices. The paid notices, we should not be touching. You can touch them to move them to a different area of the page, but that's it. So, any other questions on any of that or anything about obits that has been confusing? I know that the kind of shift to the production department has meant some changes in them, and I want to make sure you guys are all clear on how everything's working. Anybody have questions on that?
I do, quick, this is Emma Redmond.
Okay, what's up, Emma?
I'm curious, and this is very specific, but when we run the death notice, say it's over 2 columns, but it's 1 column, do we not want to do that, or do we want to run it over the 2 columns with the gutter in the middle, obviously?
Make it 2 columns with a
I think
gutter
it's
in the
both
middle.
ways.
Yeah, 2
Okay.
columns with the gutter in the middle is gonna look cleaner. Do that.
Cool.
Anybody else?
So then, are you talking about milestones yet, or is that?
We're figuring
Okay.
out milestones, but for now, if the milestones are put on as 1 column, leave them at 1 column. If they're put on as 2, leave them at 2. However they're put on the page, just leave them as that, and I know that's gonna create some funky spaces. I'm more okay with us putting plug ads into milestones to square them off than I am when we have to do that with obits, because some of our papers do not allow plug ads on obits at all. And the ones that do allow it, we really need to do it as little as possible, because it's just a little bit tacky to be like, sorry grandma died, but check out Jobs HQ. Like, just, you know, to be classy, let's try not to put plug ads on our obits. So, any other questions on any of that before I turn it over to Carol?
I have a question about moving ads
Okay.
on a page. We, the other day, I was actually on the obit page in Mitchell. The way the ads were stacked made it impossible to fit the obit into kind of 4 columns in a clean way, to leave 2 columns completely open, and it did this weird thing where it kind of broke up the areas on the page that we could put other things in. So I asked if I could move one of the obits into a different corner, and I had an email from Aaron saying we should be asking Camera Blade or FCC Production. They said, no, we have to ask Creative. So then we asked Creative, and they said, no, you have to ask FCC Production.
Okay.
And in the end, basically, I just got the okay, as long as the editor said it was okay, that it was okay. But Emma said she was going to check on it when you guys talked today.
Okay. That didn't actually come up. Let me get some clarification on that. I'll send out an email after this to figure out exactly.
And this is only like on the same page. It's just so that we can like make things fit nicer.
Yeah.
Because especially with obits, if you can't change the way they fit very much, if you can tuck it into like one side of the page, That's preferable, obviously.
Yep. Yeah, you know, we're just not supposed to be moving those ads at all, because it seems like every time we do move one, then it turns out that was an ad that paid extra to be placed exactly where it was, and then we moved it. So we should not be moving those at all, but yeah, I will figure out
But that's
who
why,
we need to.
that's why we're
yeah.
asking, right? I
Right.
mean, that's why.
Yeah, so I will get some clarification on who exactly it is that needs to approve that, so we know who to contact, so we can actually get that figured out, so we don't just end up in a death spiral of, no, ask them, ask them, ask. I'll find out for you, Addie, and I'll let you know. So
Okay,
we'll
thank
have
you.
an answer for you. All right. Like, I talk to the phone like she can see me. Anything else, you guys?
I can see you.
Oh, I should be looking at the screen to be like, instead I'm like just directing it at the phone like you're in there. All right. Anything else? All right. As always, if you guys think of something later, I think you all have my email and my cell phone number and probably my social security number and my home address and everything at this point. Let me know. I'm here for you guys. So, all right. Carol, you ready to walk us through what you've done?
Sure thing.
All right.
Okay, so we're gonna talk a little bit about, quick keys or keyboard shortcuts. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay.
Can you move it a little closer to your, speak up a little bit?
Okay. Okay, so, we did the keyboard shortcuts for the paragraph styles, which will be over here on the left. And I figured while we're at it, we could review some of the other stuff regarding paragraph styles and just the general keyboard shortcuts. And what I learned is that you can actually see all of the keyboard shortcuts for InDesign if you go up here to edit and keyboard shortcuts and show set. And you can actually print this huge list of all the keyboard shortcuts that are available. But in this list, there are a whole bunch that say undefined. And you can apparently add the ones that you want. So for those that are interested in learning more keyboard shortcuts, I actually just went online and found a better list, because that's not a very user-friendly one. So there's actually a ton of them. And so I got a long list for you and a short list, just this one page. And then I also made a list of ones for the paragraph styles that I ended up using the most. And obviously they're also on your page, so you wouldn't have to print them, but I like really large print and I like to put it up on the side of my cubicle so I can see it. It is pretty small print over here. There is a way to make that a little bit larger by going over here and checking this box that says small panel rows. So it's a little, the font doesn't seem to actually get that much bigger or smaller, but it puts a little bit more air in it if you check and uncheck this box. I'm a big fan of quick keys because I feel like it helps me design faster. And there's also like a ton of stuff that we have to scroll through all the time. But some of it's also preference. You don't have to spend so much time going down here and going through all of your panels or clicking through all of your things. But we also have the advantage of having scripts, which really helps us out a lot in other programs, or in the old days, back and forth, you had to code everything. So you actually had to use a lot more of these quick keys. So I found I was only using a select few all the time, mostly for the headlines and the sub-headlines and the drop caps. If you come across any that are gray, that means that I messed up and that it's already in use. So it says that the shortcut is shift number 4, but that it's already assigned to another one. And you probably noticed that we took the word features out of like the headlines. And the reason is, just for right here, to be able to see the name and what the quick key is. I had to make this like really big. And if you squeeze it, you couldn't see the difference between the two with the headlines. And so we thought if we shortened it to just bands or slab, you could get that in closer together while still being able to tell the difference. So keep in mind that you still want to keep those the features and centerpieces, all the ones that say bands or slab. The other thing you might notice, maybe it's a little wider there, as you go through this list, is that you're going to see doubles of things, and some of the doubles don't have like keys on them. So like headlines and head bolds are pretty much the same. I'll just grab the story here quick. The reason that there are doubles of some of the things is because they had to have, the names have to be very specific to be in the script. So whenever you use the script, it's going to have that script name. And that means that you can use either the one that is the script name or the regular one. It's going to be about the same. And if by chance the name was made, some of them are the same. But it doesn't matter, like the one here is called text, you can use text, or you can use body. If you look up here, they're exactly the same. Just so it's not confusing for anyone. Now, if by chance you get a page and it doesn't have all the 50s, and by some time, or it doesn't have the right paragraph styles on it, maybe you're doing a special section or something like that, load your paragraph styles, and just for anyone who hasn't done that before, click up here in this little box, go to load paragraph styles, and you go to a recent page that you want to steal the styles off of, and it'll come up with this big list. The A's, I think those are for characters, and then the paragraph is for paragraph. I usually just leave them all. You can uncheck them if there's only one you're trying to take off there. Those SCIs are all in a folder. And then you just click OK. Now you're going to see that I might have got doubles of them. Usually you have to sort them again. I like to sort them by name. So this was an older template, so I got some older stuff on here because I've been working on this for a while. Let's see what else is on my list. Do you guys have any questions yet? I did want to mention that I've worked in programs where I'm pretty sure they were made by like very, very large mathematicians, and if there are any in there that you can't reach or that are uncomfortable to read, if you keep doing that throughout the day, it will hurt, and it will cause strain on your hands. So if there are any in there that you are clicking on and that you find uncomfortable, definitely let us know so that we can get those changed before everyone starts memorizing all these. Definitely use these however you feel is most useful to you. Like I said, Alicia will send you out that to-do list, and if it's helpful to you, you can print whichever ones you want. I find it easiest to remember or try to memorize 2 or 3 at a time. Understand everyone's working on deadline anyhow, so you don't want to stop and start looking up quick keys at that point. But I especially find it useful if I get like a whole page of subheads where they're all bold or something like that. I'll just stop and look that one up because I don't want to have to deal with that. One of the things that I just remind you quick is remember if there is a plus sign in your paragraph style, that means that it's been changed. It will actually tell you that right there. Alt-click to clear. So here on click, it has been changed. So I'm going to alt-click, and that puts it back to the original head fold. And then one of the other things I wanted to go tried to fix those, and I think we found Bemidji, Brainerd, and Alex. Can anybody else think of any other papers that, we weren't able to do this on? Well, if any come up, definitely let us know, we'll try to get those fixed. But if you come across this again or anywhere else, usually what you would do is you would send the photos to the back and the text was here. But because of a certain setting here, it's not doing that. So you would have to go to text draft on the photo, turn it off. Or the other thing you could do.
Oh, somebody typed on here that Dickinson's template seems to have that problem too, Carol, so if you can get to that when you have a chance.
Okay. So you can either take the text graph off the photo, or you can use Control C to get the text frame option and ignore text graph. And then you get that headline up on top there. But until those new templates come through, those are a couple of options for that. Oh, one of the other things that I come across sometimes are weird spacing issues. And one of the things that I found is, like, if you get this weird space up here, what is actually there, just for anyone who hasn't had experience with this quite yet, is that there can be a hidden paragraph style. And sometimes you can see it right there, that's where it is. You can click on it, but sometimes the easiest way to find it is to go to type and show your hidden characters. There is a little paragraph in there. Now, there doesn't seem to be a different font, it's just paragraph enter. So I deleted it and it went away. It also went away when I reset it, in which case I also had to go back and fix the font again. Oh, see, look, there it is again now. Yeah. So I think that's the easiest way to find them. Another way to deal with them, I guess, here. Forward. Sometimes I'll forget to do the substituted font. You can also find change, or use the find to find this font. I'm still going to turn on that paragraph right now. Characters. So this is just paragraph, but I know there's that your eye stuff in there. But these are like nearly impossible to click on. Normally in like a regular paragraph, I would just like go like this. I got that one alright. This one on the line. One on the line. Oh. See, now I got it. That never happens. Usually, it makes another line or it deletes the line. It's really hard. So you can actually use find change to delete that. Let's see. Find font would be really cool. So if I can find European font, it's very, very long list. Probably tapped it 3 times. I went to the yellow next.
Is it in the font stylist or would it be in the font family one? Would it be in the box above?
Oh, there it is. And if you click out here, you'll see that the line is blending. So that's what we're going to change it to. a cool way to do it if you're having trouble finding where they are. I also, you can set the find chain to do different things, like spaces. We have to do this every day. One of my favorite things that I've set up. For almanac, it always comes in with these extra spaces. I've got one for remove almanac spaces. 14 times. Done. It does put extra space here, but I always know where it is, because there are playground lines by it. We also have, a reporter who, types and puts in extra spaces whenever they're at home, because when you learn to type on a typewriter, I learned that they learn to type with extra spaces. So I have an extra setting in there for Tom spaces. So there's a lot of stuff you can do with that. Try to find some of those hidden things that you might not be able to see, especially if something's like bouncing off, you know, just extra spaces and things. I'm just gonna look on my list here and see what else I had on here. Oh, I had one more thing I was gonna talk about. I actually can't find a very good example of it right now. But sometimes when we're doing columns, the tagline text comes in kind of funny. It sometimes happens to me on breakouts as well. When I use those breakouts from the FCC library, either it just doesn't come out looking well, or I don't know, maybe it got fixed. It's not pink anymore. But other places I've worked have tell that when the font blows. So it's italic, and I want to make a tagline. Well, that still doesn't really look right, right? There's not even a plus sign by it. But there's something about italic that is really strong. I think especially if it's coming from Word. And so what you need to do is just speak and it's not taking your paragraph style, or if it's for some reason not taking it, is you need to set it to body and then add the new paragraph style. You can either do that over here or using your eyedropper, whatever you like to do. It's still italic. There. Now it's right. So now, if I set it, now that looks like tagline. That looks much better.
Hey, Carol,
Yeah.
before you do that, is it, when it was tagline, but it was italic and it didn't have the plus, don't you have the option to right click on tagline, the style, and override or clear character styles?
Oh, that's cool. Awesome.
Cool.
I didn't know about that. Yeah, there's something. That is much faster. Cool. See, I thought there was only something else in there if there was a plus sign on it.
If it's got a character
I
style
noticed
applied
that
to it,
too.
it doesn't always have a.
That's great. Cool. So let's do that again just to make sure. Yeah. Just so I remember. I don't remember if I don't do it again. There. That's excellent. Okay. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I was going to share. I know there's always several different ways to do things in InDesign. If you guys have any other ideas for ways to do things faster, I'm always looking for that. So I definitely like to work faster and not harder. So yeah, definitely love to hear more ideas or ways to do that. If you guys have any other questions or suggestions.
Alright, well, if anybody thinks of anything, feel free to email them to me and then I'll compile all the suggestions for Carol, 'cause she's been doing an awesome job of making our templates easier for us to work with. So if you can think of anything else that would make your life easier, or if there's anything like this text wrap thing that you notice on a certain template is wonky and or annoying, that you would just like us to try to figure out a solution, let me know and I'll ask Carol to do it, because I don't know how to do all this template stuff that she does.
Oh, what
So-
about the scripts, you can make shortcuts to that. Is there, would you like universalize the?
Yeah, we can work on that, I think.
I mean,
I'll let it-
that's what I do, I use
Okay.
mine, but.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I guess set up a bunch.
Yeah, I guess I have.
Alright.
It makes sense to me, but probably not
Yeah.
to everybody. Can be like-
Okay. All right. Anybody have anything else before we adjourn? All right, well, thank you all for being here. I'll send out this video and I will send out all those handouts that Carol showed. So, thank you.